Hey everybody, we're the Nerdy Reads podcast, and we are big fans of spooky season. So every October, we read spooky books, we do all that kind of stuff. But this year, we're trying out something different. We're talking about some movies, and we found a list scientifically the scariest movies, top 3. This is number 2. Today, we're talking about the movie Host. Host is a spine-chilling 2020 horror film that brilliantly taps into the fear of isolation and the unknown. Set entirely over a Zoom call, a group of friends decides to host a virtual séance during lockdown. Because what could possibly go wrong, right? Well, a lot, as it turns out, when they accidentally summon a sinister presence. Things quickly spiral out of control, and the seemingly mundane digital world turns into a terrifying nightmare. With its clever use of technology, jump scares, and relentless tension, Host is a short, sharp shocker that will make you think twice about your next Zoom meeting. So like we said, this one's sitting in that number 2 as the scariest movie based on science, and we plan on covering those top 3. So today we're talking about Host. Guys, what are your thoughts?
Right off the bat, I'm going to go ahead and say something about Host. 52-minute runtime, and it's all killer, no filler. This movie did not overstay its welcome. I felt it was the perfect length for this type of movie. That's the first of many positives I'm going to give this thing.
Yeah, and I agree with that. The runtime in this being 52 minutes is a massive plus for something like this. A lot of times horror movies do a lot with the building of characters and all that in the beginning to try to make you care about them, oftentimes falling a little bit short. With this, it's like, nah, we're not going to worry about all that. We're just going to throw you in the mix. And it's 52 minutes of just absolute chaos. Dylan, what's your first impression of
my first impression, definitely a very unique movie in the way it was filmed. Mm-hmm. I definitely got flashbacks from, I guess, the time period that it was. I mean, we're almost 5 years removed from peak COVID time. And so watching a movie that's filmed around that time and having people constantly mention lockdown and all this other stuff and like, wearing masks and just kind of seeing that just gave me like a lot of flashbacks. And then just like I said, the uniqueness of the way it's filmed through Zoom is definitely a very creative spin on something that was very negative. And then they kind of used that to their advantage. And I think it overall was a really, really, really awesome premise.
Yeah. And I agree with you, man. It took me back as well. I remember being on Zoom calls for work all the time where you would have to sit there and do that constantly. Or even if you just wanted to meet with a group of people during that time via FaceTime, Zoom was just the way to go. And I love how they had the timer. Because if you remember, if you didn't pay for Zoom, and even now, if you don't pay for Zoom, which none of us should or did or whatever, maybe you should, but whatever. If you
Sorry, Zoom.
Yeah, sorry, Zoom. Zoom, if you want to sponsor us, we're cool with that. But anyway, if you didn't pay for Zoom, you got that little, like, whatever it was, 50 minutes to have your meeting. And I love how that timer's going pretty much the whole duration of this. And even at the end, it's giving you like that, like 2 minutes left of this thing. And that's when the movie's getting ready to end. I thought that was a really cool way to do it too. It's almost like they said, hey, we got to write this whole entire movie and base it off that 50-minute Zoom call time, which very cool.
And even like the last couple seconds, the whole time I'm watching that clock count down, it's like 5, 4. And I'm like, as soon as this hits 0, it's going to be a giant jump scare. And even then, it still got me.
Yeah.
I was like, I knew it was coming, but I'd still,
Well, I like the way they set the stage. They even bring in like the medium to kind of get the seance going, and they all have their candles lit. And then you have Gemma, Dylan's tag. It was Gemma's fault.
Yep. It was Gemma's fault.
It was all Gemma's fault.
She tried to blame Haley, and I'm like, nah.
I kind of thought at the beginning of the movie though, like Haley was already hearing thuds in her apartment before the seance started. So I had this running theory in my head that Haley was possessed, or she already had this demonic entity and she was trying to use this Zoom seance to pass it from herself to someone else.
Well, my man really thought through this too.
I did, dude. I went deep. I thought for sure that's what was happening all the way up to the end when Gemma busts in her apartment and she sees Haley in the bedroom. I thought Haley was going to turn around and have some like creepy smile. And I thought it was going to end with like Haley like passing this on. Like I thought she set all these people
was
up.
Perfectly fine, and even when Gemma got there, like she just kind of got dragged away. The door shut, and then all of a sudden Gemma gets there. She walks in. It's super creepy, but then all of a sudden Haley's not a scratch on her. She is perfectly fine. So that is kind of a little sus.
I mean, I
was so tired. My favorite character, what was his name? Ted. The dude, poor Ted just shows up, takes a few shots, goes off, does his own thing. He comes back. He's like, "What's going on with everybody?" And then it's over for Ted. I mean, Ted got astray. He wasn't even a part of the séance.
Nah. Yeah, he wasn't even part of this thing. Here's the thing, bros. If we're gonna, it's Gemma's fault. Haley brought this to them, though.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go ahead and just say it. Like, even if we don't want to give it 50-50, there's at least a 70-30. We got to pass a little blame, you know. She brought them all into space and said, "Let's try this. This will be a good time." First off, I've read the rules. You don't drink during a séance. I haven't been on a séance before,
and I never will.
Never. But why are you taking shots during a séance, bro? Mm-hmm. And here's my other thing. Now we've said all these cool things about the movie. It's awesome. It's fun, and I understand why they did this, because you have to do this in order to maintain like the movie. But I find it hilarious that while they're running through their house, it's like they're carrying their computer and they're flipping the screens around so people can see like what they're seeing. And I found that like, guys, if we did something like that and my house is haunted, my computer's staying right here. You're going to stare at this wall as I'm running out the front door. See you later. 100%. You know what I mean? It's go ahead.
They tried to run out the front door, though, and it followed them. It's like, you think that's going to work? Here's the picnic table. Enjoy it. Boom.
Yeah, that's true. And there were some cool scenes, like even when, because one girl, Emma, I think was her name, kept putting the filters on her face.
Oh,
and then when she flips the camera and there's a filter just of this creepy mask floating in the room, and she's like, "What's this? What's this?" And then she throws powder or flour or whatever, and all of a sudden there's footsteps. Come on, bro.
That's effective.
It is effective. And I know go ahead.
I don't know who which one of them had the blanket. Do you remember the blanket when they threw the blanket?
That was Emma too.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
that made me think of Invisible Man, the movie. They threw the blanket on Invisible Man.
Emma's hiding under the blanket, and I'm like, Emma, bro,
you dead.
You ain't 8. All this stuff's going on in your household. Get out.
They were more afraid of COVID than the demon, bro. Underlying message.
That's it.
Let me tell you right now, I don't know the girl who made the fake Zoom background had probably the creepiest Caroline.
Yeah.
She had the creepiest stuff, dude. Yeah. When she heard noises in the attic, she did too. Yeah. First off, dude, if I hear something in my attic, I'm ignore it like everyone else. I don't go look for the door and decide I'm going to go up my ladder and see what's making the noises. I'm going to always 125% of the time assume it's a raccoon. And if it's something else, it can come find me, but I'm not going to find it. So when she opened the attic, pulled the ladder down, put her phone on a selfie stick, which bravo, that was one of my favorite shots of the whole movie, when she had the selfie stick, goes up in the attic and is moving it around. Because the whole time I'm like, okay, what's going to jump right in my face and scream or something? But instead it was a nice little effective moment. It was really good. You got to hear all her friends react to it. She obviously couldn't see because she had the selfie stick. That scene in general was awesome. What happened to her was insane. The filmmakers, they did a great job with this.
Yeah, the creativity was next level for a lot of it. And especially like whenever the background happened, like whenever she disappeared and the background came on, like I instantly knew. I was like, oh, it's the background.
I know. And they all were like, oh, there she is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, whenever you see the keyboard, I don't know if you guys noticed, but before did the reveal of what was happening to Caroline, you could see the numbers, or it was just like someone was just smacking the keyboard.
That's an awesome.
And you could
touch,
see
dude.
the little, like, in the chat, like the actual chat bubble that was popping up.
That's
I didn't
and
notice
then all of a
that.
sudden
That's
it cut
cool.
to it was
that's clever.
like the details, and even like going towards the end of the movie, like the end credits was everyone. It said participants, like 43.
You can find us on
participants in the
YouTube
chat room,
or
and it was scrolling through the chat room at the very end.
Oh yeah,
That was the
credits.
The credits.
I thought that was awesome.
That was really cool.
That was really cool. Go ahead.
My one knock is, like, I know the ending Dylan mentioned, like, I know they're counting down, I'm gonna get jump scared. My one knock is I almost feel like that last, like, I almost wish that wasn't in there. Like, I wish it would have just faded and had the, you're out of time, and they left it to interpretation what happened to Gemma and Haley, because you can safely assume they gone. Yeah. But that final jump scare just made the movie, which is a great experience. Check it out. That final jump scare just made it feel like I watched a 52-minute version of 100 TikToks and Reels I've seen, where it's like, hey, what's that in the screen? And I get real close and something jumps in my face.
Yeah, I can see why you would think that, I guess. I'll take the other side of that, though, and say I did not feel that at all. I'm okay with the last jump scare. I'm kind of like Dylan. I'm also jumpy, though. So, I mean, take that with a grain of salt. I'm a very jumpy person. So when that last jump scare kicked in, I jumped up. So, and just to tell you guys this, Maggie watched the movie like this the whole time. Like this. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? She goes, what? I don't want to get scared. I'm holding the baby is what she kept saying. Whatever. So anyway, so I think it's safe to say, I think we're going to wrap this up. I think it's safe to say that we recommend it. Dylan, what do you give this out of 10, bro? What are you rating this one?
I would give it like a 9.2.
9.2. That's strong.
9.2 is strong.
Robert?
For like a 52-minute movie, it's definitely highly worth a watch.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Robert, what you got, bro?
Man, I'm going to go with, you know what? Creativity. This gave me strong Paranormal Activity vibes, like something really cool, clever, unique. I think one of these work. I hope we don't see 19 sequels. So I'm going to echo Dylan, and I'm going to go 9.1.
All right. You know what? Creativity is awesome. All that kind of stuff. I'm going to go with 9. I think it's a really, really strong movie. It gets me excited for the rest of our top 3 based on science scary movies that we're going to be covering here at the Nerdy Reads podcast. And just in case this is the first time you've ever seen us, we have a show. We do full-length episodes just talking about books, nerd culture, all that kind of stuff. So go check that out if you haven't already. Give us a like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the Nerdy Reads podcast. Peace.